kami sama itu tapaka karimanang kami deh nganjaga kedampaan kami kok nganjaga di laut. Nggak ko lain mah dia lang biasa yang kami patuan jadi kebiasaan kami nih.
Imagine diving 30 meters underwater on a single breath or sensing a tsunami before a single wave appears. These feats sound like superpowers, yet they are part of daily life for some of the world's most extraordinary tribes. How have these isolated communities developed abilities that seem impossible by modern standards? Across remote oceans, mountains, and forests, ancient peoples defy scientific expectations through evolution, culture, and instinct. From unparalleled underwater vision to remarkable endurance and survival skills, their stories shatter what we think we know about human limits. And the truth behind their gifts is far more fascinating than myth. The sea nomads' underwater mastery. The Bajau and Mochin tribes of Southeast Asia are unlike any other people on Earth in their intimate relationship with the sea. These so-called sea nomads don't just live near water, they live on it, moving through it with a grace and endurance that defies what many scientists once believed possible. They hold their breath for minutes at a time, diving deep, sometimes as far as 30 meters, without any modern diving equipment. This remarkable ability sparked disbelief among researchers, challenging long-held ideas about human limits underwater. What makes the Bajau and Mochin truly extraordinary goes beyond breath-hold diving. Their children develop nearly perfect underwater vision, a talent no European child possesses. These children physically adjust their pupils to tiny diameters and stretch their eye lenses to an almost impossible range, allowing them to see clearly below the surface. This rare ability isn't magic, it's a product of persistent practice and growing up in shallow tropical waters, a skill learned and honed over generations. In 2018, a groundbreaking study published in the journal Cell revealed another piece of this puzzle. Many Bajau adults have spleens about 50% larger than nearby populations, a trait not just by chance, but influenced by a specific gene variant. The larger spleen acts like a reservoir, releasing more oxygen-rich red blood cells during deep dives, allowing the Bajau to hold their breath longer and safely explore underwater for extended periods. This biological adaptation supplements their behavior, transforming them into natural divers. For the Bajau, diving is not a hobby. It's survival, culture, and sustenance all rolled into one. Daily, they dive to depths of 10, 20, or even 30 meters, spearing fish and gathering food by breath alone. Their bodies have adapted to the ocean's demands, slowing their heart rates and redirecting blood flow to vital organs in a reflex perfected over centuries. Time underwater is measured by heartbeats and lungs, not by watches or clocks. The Mochin adds a spiritual dimension to their relationship with the sea. They call the tsunami the lagoon, a wave that eats people. In 2004, when the ocean receded ominously before the tsunami struck, the elders of the Mochin recognized the warning signs long before the disaster hit. Their deep connection with nature allowed them to lead their people to safety, preventing any loss of life. Their intuitive understanding of the ocean's rhythms blends ancient wisdom with lived experience. What researchers have uncovered in these tribes is evolution in motion, living proof that human genetics can shift in direct response to environment and tradition. Yet, the full extent of their abilities continues to puzzle science, as culture and biology weave together inseparably in their daily lives. This phenomenon pushes us to reconsider what is truly possible for the human body, especially when shaped by generations of adaptation. Despite the scientific marvel, the Bajau and Mochin remain humble about their powers, viewing them as part of their heritage, not as something superhuman. Their mastery of the sea is a testament to the intimate bond between a people and their environment, something that many modern societies risk losing. In this relationship, we witness how the human species can redefine its limits when necessity and culture align. As we shift from ocean depths to arid plains, a different kind of remarkable endurance emerges among the Masai, whose feats of strength and stamina tell a story of survival shaped by land, tradition, and faith. Masai strength and endurance. The Masai of East Africa have long fascinated outsiders with their legendary physical feats, such as the Adumu jump, where warriors spring vertically with a grace that seems to defy gravity. Yet behind these displays of power lies a deeper story, one that intertwines genetics, culture, and diet in sustaining their remarkable endurance. Living across Kenya and Tanzania, the Masai balance a pastoral lifestyle centered on cattle, rain, and a spiritual belief in Enkai, the god who, according to legend, gifted them cattle via a heavenly rope. Their performances are not the result of specialized training, but the product of a lifetime's daily routine: herding cattle, walking miles under the equatorial sun, and participating in rituals that demand strength and stamina. Research indicates they regularly achieve vertical leaps of 50 to 60 centimeters, impressive for untrained athletes. Movement, community, and perseverance are deeply embedded in their way of life, making their physical prowess as much cultural as biological. The Masai diet has been another remarkable factor. Even though they take in 600 to 2,000 milligrams of cholesterol a day, mainly from milk, blood, and meat, their resistance to heart disease as well as high blood pressure is still noticeable in certain Masai tribes. This contradiction has led researchers to consider their genetics, particularly the presence of genes such as FABP1, which are responsible for fat metabolism, plus variants that encourage lactase persistence, thus making it easy for adults to digest milk. Adaptation in this case is not only in the form of physical change. The Masai have shown exceptional cultural evolution by embracing and embodying a mix of tradition and modernization. The once widely practiced oleo lion hunt, which was a rite of passage for the males, has now practically disappeared and turned into a memory and song, thereby making way for conservation programs and the Masai Olympics. The modern competitions are held in the form of sprinting, throwing of spears, and strength testing, thus putting the ancient bravery in a new form that keeps the identity alive while still being considerate to the wildlife. The Masai's power is not only in the brawn or the stamina, but also in the act of balancing, keeping their culture alive while gaining scientific knowledge and adapting to change. They are the living proof of how people can retain their core values and traditions while changing their practices according to modernity. This fineness in cultural evolution opens up the door for resilience and innovation. The Masai are a living reminder of how unassailable strength can originate not only from genetics or the environment, but also from the strong social ties and belief systems that influence both body and mind. Their narrative complicates the understanding of health and fitness by introducing a mix of biology and culture. Here, the human potential is expanded over generations, terrains, and ceremonies. As we travel from the savannah to an island frozen in time, we encounter a tribe whose isolation has preserved a way of life that continues to confound the outside world. The Sentinel Islanders. The Sentinel Islanders' isolation. Perched on a small, forested island ringed by coral reefs, the Sentinel tribe remains one of the world's last untouched peoples, fiercely resistant to outside contact for decades. Their story is one of survival, sovereignty, and tragic defiance. When relief helicopters dropped supplies after the 2004 tsunami, a lone Sentinel man famously fired an arrow as a clear message: they are alive and demand to be left in peace. India has legally protected the Sentinel by forbidding anyone to approach closer than 5 nautical miles since 1956. This isolation is not a mere choice, but a necessity, as contact with outsiders risks deadly disease due to their immune system's unfamiliarity with common viruses. Their lifestyle, hunting, fishing with simple boats paddled by poles, and living in forest clearings has persisted largely unchanged for centuries. No outsider has truly learned their language, and their population numbers remain uncertain, estimated between a few dozen to over 100. Myths of cannibalism occasionally surface in rumors and headlines, but have no credible evidence. Anthropologists watching from afar describe rich social structures, burial practices under huts, family bonds, fire-making, and expressions of grief and love. In 2018, an illegal attempt to contact them resulted in the death of an outsider, underscoring the dangers and reinforcing the need for protection. The Sentinel's story is a stark reminder of the fragility of isolated cultures in a globalized world, a world that both envies and endangers their secrecy. The tribe's uncanny ability to read nature is demonstrated dramatically when the Indian Ocean pulled back abruptly before the 2004 tsunami. The Sentinel fled to higher ground without any external warning. This environmental atonement reveals a profound and ancient knowledge of the natural world. Though shrouded in mystery, their resilience and humanity shine through distorted media tales. They are not savage relics, but survivors who have mastered their environment in isolation. Their fierce defense of autonomy invites deep respect and contemplation about the world's last frontiers of untouched human life. The Sentinel reminds us that some of the oldest human ways persist quietly amid modern chaos, holding secrets we may never fully understand. Their existence challenges the assumption that progress always means contact, offering a powerful perspective on survival, respect, and sovereignty. From the solitude of the island to the heights of jungles, human ingenuity takes many forms, each rooted in unique environments and histories. The Korowai tree builders, high in the lush jungles of Papua, where thick mosquitoes swarm and swampy lowlands stretch out beneath canopies, the Korowai have built a way of life that seems almost otherworldly. Their homes perch 30 to 40 meters above the forest floor, balanced like fragile nests among the towering trees. Rope ladders dangle, and hand-carved logs serve as stairs, connecting families to these lofty refuges. To many outsiders, these tree houses evoke images of primitive survivalism. But the Korowai intricate architecture is much more than shelter. It is a profound blend of cultural pragmatism and ancestral knowledge. The reasons behind these elevated homes go beyond simple protection from flooding or insects. As early anthropologists once assumed, the Korowai themselves say they build high out of worry, a protective instinct aimed at spirits, enemies, and unseen dangers lurking below. This instinctive engineering is not taught through formal schooling, but passed down through countless generations. Men climb barefoot, hauling ridge beams and cross braces with raw strength and muscle memory, constructing intricate frameworks that can be rapidly assembled or relocated. This mobility is essential. Entire families can dismantle and move their homes within days, following seasonal patterns or threats. The structures are designed to be both fast and functional, fierce fortresses of community life amid the canopy. Between 1986 and 1990, helicopter surveys mapped numerous settlements across clan lands, estimating roughly 4,000 speakers of the Korowai language scattered among the trees and rivers. Western contact with the Korowai was relatively late. It wasn't until March 1974 that researchers like Peter Van Arsdale first documented their way of life, including practices such as fire-making and seasonal travel routes. Government villages eventually appeared nearby, but many families retained their traditional mobility, seasonally returning to ancestral lands, particularly during the Sigo harvest. This constant movement reflects a delicate balance between adapting to modernity and preserving age-old customs. Unfortunately, the lifestyle of the Korowai has been wrongly represented. Documentaries with a sensational approach have claimed that all Korowai people live in tree houses all the time or practice cannibalism. These are very simplistic and distorted views of reality. The BBC acknowledged in 2018 that a treehouse building scene, which was the most watched, was staged, and the cannibalism tales mainly came from rare reports of the execution of male witches accused, which were further dramatized by outsiders seeking drama. Experts caution that these cases are exceptional, not characteristics that define the cultural group. Currently, many Korowai people live in two different worlds. One is the traditional treetop villages, and the other is the nearby school, where they mix rituals, roads, and modern influences. Their buildings are a strong symbol of survival, adaptation, and the complex relationship of fear and savvy. Through their high homes, they not only protect their physical bodies, but also keep a spiritual link to the earth and ancestors that is their source of strength. The Korowai narrative is a reminder to us that human creativity is often born from fear and adaptation rather than want, that high living is not a luxury but a necessity rooted in caution and kinship. There is a sky-dwelling existence, speaking of a relationship with nature that is close, intentional, and changing all the time. From the heights of such a human spirit, the world sees a lovely and rare combination of resilience and reverence, which points us to the alternative ways to coexist with a hard environment. Moving from treetops to towering mountains, there is another group whose mastery of their environment lies not in the canopy, but in the rarefied air and razor-thin oxygen of Earth's highest peaks. High-altitude adaptations. The Tibetan and Sherpa peoples inhabit some of the most forbidding terrains on the planet, where oxygen is scarce, and survival depends on remarkable physiological and cultural adaptations. High above the clouds, at altitudes where most people gasp for breath, these mountain dwellers not only endure, but thrive. Their ability to live, farm, build, and guide climbers through the Himalayas has made them icons of high-altitude resilience. Scientific research has shed light on their biological edge. In 2014, a significant study published in Nature identified a distinct gene variant called EPAS1, inherited from Denisovan ancestors, that helps Tibetans maintain low hemoglobin levels. This adaptation keeps their blood thin, allowing it to flow swiftly and reducing risks like clotting, which are common at high altitudes. Unlike many lowlanders who respond to oxygen scarcity by producing more red blood cells, Tibetans manage oxygen more efficiently, avoiding thickened blood and related health problems. The Sherpa takes this advantage even further. Elite Sherpa climbers demonstrate extraordinarily high VO2 max scores, around 66.7 milliliters per kilogram per minute, at sea level, which measure maximal oxygen uptake. When ascending Everest, their muscles shift metabolism to burn energy more efficiently, conserving precious oxygen. Recent studies suggest that genes such as GCH1 aid in regulating nitric oxide in their bloodstream, dilating blood vessels, and promoting oxygen delivery without increasing blood volume. But adaptation here is not purely genetic. Culture plays an equally crucial role. The Sherpa and Tibetans emphasize pacing, meticulous route planning, and ritual practices that prepare both body and mind for harsh conditions. Altitude climbing is as much a spiritual journey as a physical challenge. For instance, when Kami Rita summited Mount Everest for the 31st time in 2025, his humility shone through as he credited family and Nepal rather than personal glory. Daily life at high altitude involves a choreography of survival skills, farming hardy crops, building homes resilient to extreme weather, and guiding travelers safely. Their communities have harnessed generations of experiential knowledge, stitching together biology and belief to master an environment hostile to most humans. These adaptations remind us that human evolution is ongoing, often shaped by the demands of the local environment and intersecting with cultural values. The story of the Tibetan and Sherpa peoples exemplifies how survival is a partnership between genes and traditions, each reinforcing the other in pursuit of endurance. While many might imagine living at such altitudes as purely a scientific wonder, the reality is deeply human, a way of life forged by faith, family, and an intimate connection to mountains that have shaped identity for centuries. Their story challenges us to rethink the limits of human possibility, where biology and culture intertwine at dizzying heights. As the Sherpa descend from the sky, their story invites us to observe how adaptation can manifest not only in body, but also in ritual, reminding us that the most extraordinary abilities may be found where nature and spirit meet. Himba's protective traditions. In the sun-scorched deserts of Namibia and Angola, the Himba people have crafted a striking identity, blending biology and tradition that has helped them survive some of the harshest climates on Earth. Their skin and hair carry a vivid red hue, achieved by daily application of a mixture of butterfat and an iron-rich red ochre known as utis. This distinctive practice is far more than cosmetic. It acts as a natural sunscreen, blocking harmful ultraviolet rays, repelling insects, and even reducing bacterial growth. Science confirms what the Himba have known instinctively for centuries. This red coating is a protective adaptation evolved without modern products or branding. Various assumptions have been made about the Himba, one of which is that women do not wash their bodies. However, the reality is quite the contrary. Himba women, finding it difficult to get water, take omiri resin and mix it with some desert herbs, then burn it and make smoke baths for themselves, which is just like the cleansing smoke that gets made with incense at dawn. Of course, this smoke bathing ritual is done in a conservation area, but it is still very effective in keeping the women clean and healthy. It is a case of having no other choice but to use a ritual that has become an unbreakable tradition. Himba's visual perception also gives an unexpected view. Some people from outside have said that these desert pastoralists do not see certain colors, but the research is contrary to that. According to visiting scholars like Debbie Robertson, the way the Himba group colors is different from that of Europeans, not because of poor eyesight, but rather because of the language and culture differences in classifying colors. The Himba have the same vision as everyone else. They just communicate differently through colors, which is a case of culture being as much a part of biology in determining perception. To be sure, the Himba are mainly pastoralists, but they also use accompanying lands that are often scattered throughout the very harsh desert, where only a few are brave enough to live. Their diet mainly consists of milk, either fresh or fermented, which is the main source of protein in the desert. Many related tribes, such as the Herero, live like the Herero and have low lactase persistence, so fermentation will help milk to be converted, which makes it digestible and safe to consume. This dietary adaptation works along with the natural environment, providing them with food when crops are not available. The cultural practices of the Himba are a reflection of a long-lasting and deep understanding of their environment. The Himba's skincare routines, smoke rituals, and food habits together form a survival method that is not only holistic, but also one that has been passed down through generations. These practices ensure the intertwining of health, tradition, and the harsh realities of desert life. The Himba's natural protection and cultural resiliency have been the reasons for their presence in the regions where others have failed and even thrived in areas where extreme heat and water shortage are the main challenges to survival. Their narrative is an example of human inventiveness that offers the possibility of overlapping biology and belief, creating an adaptation that is time and place specific. The Himba's way of life is not just about survival, but is also a reflection of identity, purpose, and community, thus highlighting the very close and deep relationship between people and land. They carry not only the visible part of their tradition on their skin, but also the invisible part through their customs, and this is their link to the many ancestors who lived before them. As we move from the deserts of Africa to the frozen reaches of northern Europe, the determination to preserve culture and adapt continues to be central in the story of the Sami people. Sami cultural survival. Across the Arctic reaches of Norway, Sweden, Finland, and into Russia, the Sami people have followed a timeless rhythm, guided by the herds of reindeer that move through tundra and forest with seasonal certainty. To outsiders, the harshness of this frozen belt may seem isolating and bleak, but for the Sami, it is home, a dynamic landscape rich with memory, song, and survival. With between 80,000 and 135,000 Sami living today, their culture straddles 9 distinct languages, each a thread in a complex tapestry. The deep bond between the Sami and their environment is epitomized by their reindeer herding practices. Nearly 250,000 domesticated reindeer graze on Norwegian lands alone, managed carefully by families who know the terrain far better than any map could convey. These animals are not wild. They are guided through a centuries-old dance of migration, sustenance, and stewardship, producing a livelihood balanced on intuition and inherited expertise. Music holds a sacred place in Sami culture. The joik is more than a song. It is a way of capturing mountain shapes, people's spirits, and memories in melody. This ancient form of vocal expression offers both stress relief and a grounding of identity, acting as medicine passed through harmonic tradition. Despite centuries of persecution, shamans called noidi were hunted, and sacred drums seized. The joik survived, a resilient beacon of Sami life. The fragile survival of Sami culture has not been without struggle. In the 1600s, their spiritual leaders faced violent suppression, and cultural artifacts became pawns in repatriation debates that continue today. Yet the persistence of music, reindeer herding, and language highlights their remarkable endurance. The continued defense of ancestral lands has become a defining feature of the modern Sami identity. Legal battles now play out in courts and on icy roads, where Sami leaders fight to maintain grazing rights and prevent encroachment by external developments. Norway's public apologies for past mistreatment acknowledge historical wrongs, but the ongoing conflict underscores the tenuous balance between tradition and modern pressures. Sami's resilience is evident in their ability to adapt without losing essence. They negotiate a world in flux, balancing preservation with change to protect both their culture and the environment. This dual fight reflects a broader struggle shared by indigenous peoples worldwide, confronting the forces of globalization and climate change. Their story deepens our understanding of survival, not just biological, but cultural resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. The Sami remind us that identity is rooted not only in place, but also in song, law, and living memory. Their path is one of continuity as much as change. In traversing these expansive northern landscapes, we witness how humans build connection and community through tradition, a vital companion to biology in the quest to endure. From frozen tundras to fertile valleys, the remarkable adaptations of people across the planet continue to astonish us, revealing the endless variety of the human experience. The Saka's cold resilience. Deep within the vast Siberian expanses of Russia lies the Republic of Saka, home to the Saka people, a community thriving where winter doesn't just come, it rules with merciless severity. Temperatures here have plunged as low as minus 67.7 degrees Celsius, temperatures that would seemingly make human survival impossible. Yet, nearly 500,000 Saka live in this frozen landscape, adapting both biologically and culturally to some of the harshest conditions on Earth. Scientists have uncovered genetic adaptations that help the Saka endure the bitter cold. Research points to genes like TBX15 and WARS2, which influence fat distribution in the body to provide better insulation and warmth. Other more recent studies from 2022 and 2025 highlight selection in UCP genes that activate heat production in brown fat, allowing the body to generate warmth internally. Rather than fighting the cold, the Saka metabolism thrives in it, turning extreme environments into habitats where others would falter. However, genes tell only part of the story. Culture and ritual form an essential layer of survival. At the Yakut Summer Festival, elders pour kumis, fermented mare's milk, into the sky while chanting epic poems known as the Olano. These oral traditions, recognized by UNESCO in 2005 as masterpieces, keep memory alive through myth and music, weaving identity tightly to landscape and history. Such cultural practices are as vital to endurance as biology itself. Moreover, the Saka's creatures also demonstrate remarkable adjustments to their new location. A case in point is the Yakutian horses, which are capable of snow penetration even during the crest of winter when the temperature hits -60 degrees. They can experience a yearly temperature variation of more than 100 degrees Celsius. These animals are the ones who share the Saka's survival strategy that is hard to distinguish from life on the tundra. Ritual, biology, and environment coalesce in daily life. The Saka take care of their livestock, practice agriculture as in the old days, and attend rituals that strengthen their neighborly ties. The community is surrounded by an environment that is both a source of inspiration and a demand for respect. They have developed a cold relationship between science and spirituality. Their strength comes from this mixture of the physical and the mythical world supporting each other. Siberia's harshness is a challenge to the view that human existence is only possible in a good-tempered nature. For the Saka, coldness is not an issue. Rather, it is a life condition that they have become very familiar with. Their prosperous situation raises the issue of the limits of human biology and the role of culture as a guiding light in the adaptation process. In a world that is quickly changing and warming, the Saka's story is a solid example not only of human survival in extreme environments, but also of human flourishing. Their mix of genetics, culture, and environment offers lessons in resilience and coexistence that seem to be increasingly important. The Saka have gone beyond what many thought impossible, thus questioning the idea of the existence of uninhabitable areas. They demonstrate that survival is not only about technology or infrastructure, it is also about the connection of the physical, the spiritual, and the environment, with past and present being intertwined. Despite these deep-rooted adaptations, the Saka today stand at a crossroads where tradition meets modernity. Younger generations navigate a world that offers new opportunities yet threatens to dilute ancestral knowledge that has ensured survival for centuries. Efforts within the community to document oral histories, preserve endangered dialects, and revitalize seasonal ceremonies reflect a growing commitment to cultural continuity. As climate change alters the Arctic landscape, these acts of preservation become not only cultural endeavors, but also strategies for resilience, ensuring that the wisdom forged in ice carries forward into an uncertain future. Among the stories of the most remarkable tribes, at the ocean's bottom and in the ice wilderness's peak, humanity's amazing ability to adapt, evolve, and endure in the face of all odds is revealed. From the sea nomads, who dive deeper than thought possible, to the Siberian Saka thriving in extreme cold, these tribes rewrite our understanding of human potential. Their extraordinary adaptations remind us that culture and biology are powerful partners in survival. If you found this journey inspiring, like this video and subscribe for more stories that challenge what we think is possible.